All right, so it's been a little bit since I've shared my pedal board with you guys. I've been wanting to document the build process of my pedal board on the channel, just to help kind of keep me accountable and just share with you guys kind of what I am doing behind the scenes of the channel. So a few things since I last made the pedal board kind of planning video, kind of my thought process on everything. I've got the Korg SDD 3000 PDL as my main delay. I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal. In all honesty, it has not disappointed me at all. It's super cool. I've been setting up different banks and presets in it, and having like the A-B presets per bank as well is super useful in just doing, like, for example, just Shiver by Coldplay. There's the main delay of the main riff that's very specific, and then just having the ability to switch to a more nicer kind of like tape delay for the verses and things like that, just on the fly, and having those presets in banks. Even like Aurora by Foo Fighters, again, a very specific delay for that main riff. Rise Up, Cardinal Black, I have all of those presets banked and specific delays all set up, and the SDD mode on that pedal is phenomenal. But then just having like the tape delay to do like the Mayer delay 80s TES thing as well. It all sounds really, really good out of that pedal. So if you guys haven't tried it out and been wanting to, it's a really great one that I'm just raving about. John's been using it with Dead & Company the past 2 residencies at the Sphere as his primary delay, it looks like. And if he uses it on a mainline tour, I mean, that's a pedal I think a lot of people are going to go nuts over if he actually sticks with it during his own career with the release of the next album, and hopefully a big tour following that. So that pedal I'm absolutely loving. The next thing you guys will see is that the Chase Bliss Analog Man Brothers AM is on the board. It's not actually mine. It's from a friend who's loaned it to me on long term. He purchased it, used it for a bit, and then was like, yeah, it's cool. And then was like, do you want to borrow it for a while? And I was like, all right, sure. I'm not going to say no, right? So that's been in place of eventually the King of Tone whenever I do order my King of Tone, just experimenting with that kind of sound and seeing how it works with the BD2 Keeley mod, the TS10, and then even like the Electric Lightning, as well as the kind of different drive pedals I've got going on at the moment. So that's in the mix there, and eventually I'll need to sort out my actual overdrive gain kind of stacking pedal list. I'm probably going to end up having a few because I like having all of these different flavors accessible on the board, and why not? It's crazy, it's, you know, but it's fun, and that's what this is all about. The next thing you guys will see as well is the Eventide H9 Max in the limited edition blue colorway. There was only one for sale in Canada, so I ordered it, got that in, and that's kind of just there to be a pedal that handles all of the weird sounds that I might need or want. For example, like kind of the octave delayed thing from Beautiful Day by U2, one of my favorite U2 songs. That's going to handle just random things like that. I haven't dived into that pedal nearly enough, but it's kind of there just so that if I need a random sound, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find it in the H9. And it's going to do kind of the Leslie thing for me too, because I love Ariel Posen's Leslie tone, Josh Smith's Leslie tone as well. Phenomenal sounding. They all use the H9, so that's kind of what I'm going to use for that also. But today is mainly trying to get some feedback and input from you guys for a phaser pedal, because I want a phaser on the board. It's an effect that I've never really used a ton, but I want to find just a really cool phaser pedal to add to the board that has that more kind of classic vintage sound to it that'll do that sort of thing. Now, even though phaser isn't typically an effect that I just would go to and use, it's something I want to explore just a little bit more. And this really came about because I was learning how to play Don't Panic by Coldplay. I absolutely love that song and that album in general. You guys know I'm really exploring the U2 and Johnny Buckland kind of delayed heavy use sound like that as well. It's something I've always been a fan of, but I'm really starting to dive into it a little bit more. And I was watching the video where Josh Scott did breaking down the Rat and a bunch of different tones you can get out of that single distortion pedal, and watching him go through and play Don't Panic again with the Rat, which is a pedal I really want to get. A white face reissue is the one I've settled on that I'm going to get. The Rat tones that he was getting for Don't Panic were great, and it made me go, okay, but it's not that difficult. I want to go and learn it. And then listening to the record again, trying to get, the delay sound right and everything when I was experimenting with it, there's very clearly a phaser that Johnny was using at that time frame. And then I started thinking of other songs that I like that use phase, and I was like, okay, I want to get something like that on my board. And look, I know the H9 can do the phaser sort of thing, but phaser is one sound that I really believe it sounds the best analog, not digital, so I don't want to use the H9 for that one effect. It's handling all the weird shit, but like phase is something that I want to actually have an analog version of. There's other really great sounds with phaser that I love, like the Foo Fighters have used it lots over the years, but where my mind goes to is John Frusciante's use of phase as well. Throw Away Your Television being a huge one. Sounds so cool. So I want to get back into experimenting with phaser pedals and kind of adding one of those to my arsenal of pedals to my board, and I want kind of your guys' feedback and input on pedals that you like that kind of do this sort of thing, but I'll run through my short list of pedals I have in mind. And in trying to come up with this short list, I went through a lot of the artists who use phasers that I like, and this kind of tried to sort out, okay, well, what do those guys use for those songs that I like? And surprise, surprise, Johnny Buckland uses a Phase 90. Both Dave Grohl and Chris Shiflett with the Foo Fighters use a Phase 90. The Phase 90 was kind of the one that everyone seemed to use, but dare I say that's kind of a boring choice, in my opinion, for something that I'm wanting to look for, because you only have the one knob to use. So I want to have more control over the tones that I'm going for. So that then led me on to the Boss PH1, because it's at least seems to be within the vein of the Phase 90, but you have both a rate and depth knob to it, which gives you just that little bit extra flexibility. And those vintage Boss pedals I just think are really, really cool. There is also the Boss PH1R that they made, and that's actually what Chris Buck did use with Buck and Evans, and I'll throw in a clip from the one Pedalboard video that they did on that pedal show years ago where he uses the PH1R, and it sounds so good.
So the chord progression. Bit of a kind of Pink Floyd-y, Foo Fighters-y kind of maybe thing, and that just sounds quite nice with.
Yeah, but I want to hear it with this.
But then it was like, okay, the PH1 or PH1R is a cool option, but do I want kind of more flexibility, or what kind of sound am I going for? Because the Moog 12-stage phaser that I used to have, which sounded so brilliant, it's absurdly expensive, even more so now than when I bought and then sold it, that's a 12-stage phaser. So I was like, okay, do I want a 12-stage phaser instead? And the Boss PH2 is a 12-stage phaser. So then that kind of became the next pedal I was considering as, okay, the same lineage as the PH1, just the later version. And it's one of the few 12-stage phasers that you can really find that are a little bit more common. So that one's one I'm kind of looking at now. I'm not sure if you guys have tried the PH2, but online at least it seems to be one that a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about, and it's not quite as expensive as a PH1, but it's also not as cool as a PH1. So then there is that. And then, of course, one brand I really do love is Thorpe Effects. I love everything that he does. I've never tried one pedal that I didn't absolutely love from Thorpe. And they have the Pulse Doppler, which is based on the Doppelganger Love pedal, which was a 4-stage phaser. So this is kind of a more modern take on that vintage sound. This is one that I'm sure will be pretty popular with, I'm sure a bunch of you guys have tried and maybe even own this pedal. But this is something a little bit different. But it's kind of like one of those things where I'm not sure if I do want something that's actually a little bit more vintage, actually vintage for the board and for that sound. But the Pulse Doppler for like a brand new, you can go out and buy new, is kind of at the top of my list for pedals that I want to try out. Like I love the deep Ogden chorus, sounds fantastic. So the Pulse Doppler, I'm willing to bet, is going to sound the same, and it has a lot of control and flexibility as well. But so does the Diamond Pedals PHS1, which is switchable between 2 and 6 stages, which is really nice, and it's Canadian. So that's kind of something that I wanted to, maybe check out as well. They're pretty hard to come by though. I think there's only one for sale on all of Reverb right now at the time of me making this video and kind of talking about phasers, but I'm not sure if any of you guys have tried this one, but it's Canadian. Diamond always makes really great stuff too. I love the form factor that it's in, like the vibrato, the original vibrato is one that I want to get on the board. So this was just something as well, and it's orange. As Josh Scott has said, orange is the color of phaser. It just looks cool. It's something that I'm curious to check out and try. In all honesty, I probably should just get a Phase 90 and call it a day, but I do just want something a bit different, something with more flexibility, but still has that nice vintage sound. And I get to kind of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about different phaser sounds if you really want to get into it. Like something like a Phase 90 doesn't totally sound the same as a 12-stage phaser like Frusciante using for Throwaway Your Television and a few other Pepper songs as well, and live and everything. It's like that Don't Panic phase sound is not Frusciante's phase sound. So I'm going after two different phaser sounds, but I just want something that will do a really good job of that authentic vintage tone, a lot of flexibility. So if you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. That's the whole reason why I'm kind of making this video, to document what I am doing, kind of share with you guys what I am thinking, kind of updates as I go along with my own personal gear journey on the channel, and also to rely on you guys for some cool input. So I hope there's some fun, kind of great sounding phasers that are kind of, might be good at what I'm looking to do in the comments down below. But yeah, that's kind of where my head is at for phasers. Maybe I'll just go get a Moog again. Like, so big though on the board. It's just like, if it was smaller, well, wait, does Moog actually, I think they have the mini MF series. Yeah, I don't think Moog made the phaser in the mini Fugger format. They did a delay, drive, ring mod, trem, and boost. So, oh, they did chorus, they did flange as well. I can't find anything on there being a phaser though that they did, unfortunately, because that would actually maybe be a viable option. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with phaser. I am leaning towards a PH1 as something I'll try out and see how I like, but we'll see. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any phaser recommendations. Let me know also more cool just songs featuring phaser to check out. But that's kind of where I'm at with everything on the board, and just wanted to make a quick update and ask for some suggestion and input from you guys. Thanks so much for watching. As always, take care, guys. I'll see you on the next video.
Anyway, go ahead and click the subscribe button if you like what you see.